Alright, good morning guys. It is the next day and I feel a little bit more rejuvenated. Feeling like I'm ready to get this project going. I have my coffee here. K.A. Keisha Dinkra. Hey lady, you could appreciate that for sure. And yeah, there are a couple of more things, just a couple of more quick tips that I wanted to give you before we start, okay, the actual project. So I know I like to be thorough, guys. So I apologize if you're like, come on, can we get to it already? But I think these things will help you. So the first thing is you want to make sure your hands are clean. So I would wash my hands before starting a project, because you think about it, this yarn is going to be weaving in and out of your fingers and hands and stuff, and if your hands are dirty, especially if the yarn is a lighter color, you know, the yarn can become dingy just from the contact. So make sure that you wash your hands, but then also make sure that they are thoroughly dry before you start working, because if they're not dry, then the yarn is not going to slide through your fingers as easily, for obvious reasons. So clean hands, but then also make sure they're dry. And then another thing that, you know, any crocheter would get on you about is tension. You know, any veteran crocheter, they would stress the importance of keeping a consistent tension. So what I mean is the tension with which you hold the thread, you know, between your fingers and your hand. If your tension changes, so say this is one tension, right? That's one tension. So a chain, okay? Now, if the tension changes, this loop could become greater, right? And then when I wrap and bring it in, look how much bigger that chain is than the previous one. And then what if I get super tight? I pull it really tightly again. Then one, it's harder to make, but then look how much smaller that chain is than the one I just made. It's even smaller than the first one I made. So if you alter your tension all the time, your project is going to come out very sloppy and non-uniform looking, because the tension is everywhere. So this is why I had you practice. Look at this. That's not really it's not really that easy on the eyes, right? That's why I had you practice the various stitches before starting. Or, you know, that's why I want you to practice the various stitches before starting this. Now let me show you what a consistent tension looks like. And you can feel it. You can feel it in your hands. You can also feel how the needle is able to work through the yarn. You know, if it's going through and able to go through the chains, if it's, how should I put it, if the needle is able to pull the yarn through the loop, you know, pretty much the same way every time, then you're going to get a consistent look. So that's consistency versus inconsistency. See the difference? Okay. So make sure you keep a consistent tension. All right. One other thing I wanted to clear up is with the slip stitch, or the slip knot, sorry. Slip stitch is something different, and you guys will learn that later on in this project, but something that I wanted to show you, and I didn't really harp on it yesterday because I was just mainly concerned with you guys learning how to make a slip knot. When you put this in here, it's best to hold this side of it, you know, this tail, and pull from this way, because that's going to minimize how long this tail gets. And eventually you're going to either have to knot it and cut it at the end, or weave it into your work. You know, in this case you're going to have to weave it into the tam, so you don't want it to be super long. And yesterday when I was showing you, I had you kind of just pulling it from that way. So let me show you the difference. Sorry, as I said, I like to be thorough. So here's the tail, and then if I had you pulling it this way, see how much longer the tail got when I had you pulling on the side. So pull it basically in such a way that the tail is, you know, shorter. Okay, and so one more thing that I wanted to show you. So you make the slip knot, you pull it through, put your needle in, and then hold this and pull. Okay, is when you're first starting to make that first chain stitch, if you hold it here, hold the yarn here, it's gonna get really tight up there. So what I like to do is I like to hold it right there and then, you know, make my chain stitch. So wrap and then pull through. And I like to hold the body of it. So now I only have one chain stitch. So I'll hold the chain stitch, wrap, pull through, wrap, pull through, wrap, pull through. Okay. In one of the examples yesterday, I wasn't holding it there, and you see, I was holding it like here, and then I tried to chain, and it was like so tight. And then you might have saw that I adjusted my grip, and I ended up holding it here so that I could actually make the chain. So yeah, so those are just some tips that I think will aid you. All right, let's get started.